Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another episode of ARC, the show where I get to be an asshole reviewing comics. And this time, instead of talking about Watchmen, even though it'd be timely to do so because season 1 of the show just ended and it'd be nice to take a look at the show, or the book that set the foundation for that show to build upon, instead, I'm going to be taking a look at a different, very popular piece of Alan Moore's writing, his famous graphic novel featuring Gotham's Caped Crusader, Batman's The Killing Joke. Again, I know it'd be more timely to talk about this, but it's been a while since I've actually read Watchmen. I do really like the story, and I like a lot of the characters in it, but if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to do it with fresh eyes and not just rose-tinted glasses, potentially. Because while I do like this story, and I liked it a lot when I first read it a long time ago, as time has gone on and I've revisited it, I have some issues with it. I do think it is still an essential piece of Batman's kind of iconography. It's a great story. There's a lot of good questions it asks, and it poses a lot of good dilemmas for Batman to tackle. And it kind of led to the birth of another character within the Batman lore, the Oracle, but there's one big thing in this story that I just don't think has aged all that well and goes against some of what I would see as this guy's kind of gray area he falls under. Because the Joker, I guess, is up to anyone's interpretation. He's a character that countless people have adapted over the years. He's been in almost every piece of popular Batman media. His movie this year has been the subject of many debate. I think that he presents a good challenge for Batman, and they have a good, again, moral discussion on how far you can push someone before they go crazy. I like the discussion of the Joker's origin in here. I like a lot of this story. I like that it paints the Joker in a different light. I like the light it paints him in from as far as his origin goes. And I like that he legitimately thinks that his actions in this are good, or are necessary to show Batman just how far he can push somebody. But my biggest issue with the story is this scene. Again, the Joker's never really not been a rapist, but this scene just never really sat with me as far as the character itself, this guy. Especially with where this story takes it. You know, the story paints him as a man who once knew love, who once knew compassion. You know, he was a guy who just kind of fell into the wrong hands. And I like that part of the story. I like the aspect of him getting into some villainy that then morphs him into the madman that Gotham knows and fears. And again, I like the idea of him taking Commissioner Gordon and fucking his life up to try and make him another sort of psycho statistic in the city. But that's an envelope I don't think he would push, especially given the characterization he's given in here or in any other medium. You know, I feel like if you're gonna make the Joker that kind of character, you need to really twist his character into something that's not in this book. I feel like it is a weird, harsh stamp on an otherwise pretty perfect book. The story itself bookends itself well. It opens with the Joker, or with Batman not necessarily talking to the Joker, but a guy made up to be the Joker to find out that he's escaped. But they talk a lot about their history in this book. And I like that, at least in the beginning, that Batman does that. And I like that in the end, it comes full circle. You know, I love this sequence in the story. I think it's really strong. And I like that there's a situation where the Batman and Joker, before any help arrives, before any between the legal area that Batman would fall under, they get to talk. They get to have a real discussion about their rivalry you know, about what the Joker wants out of Batman. I love that discussion, and I think that the writing in a lot of that part of the story is brilliant. And I love the way it ends. It's a little ambiguous. You know, you're not sure if Batman actually kills the Joker, if the Joker wins at the end of the story. I love that part of it. And it ties together, again, the central theme of the story, one bad day. I'm just saying, if I'm taking a critical look at this as an essential piece of Batman lore and a great story, an essential story in the Batman canon, which it is, you should definitely read this if you haven't read any Batman. This is one of the first ones you should really pick up. It's just got some dated shit in it. Specifically, that one instance is a little dated. But I like a lot of the stories. I like a lot of the ideas this book has in it. I just think it maybe goes a little too far and out of character with one of the titular roles in it. Maybe it's meant to be, to make you uncomfortable, but I feel like there were a myriad of other ways you could have taken it that weren't there. And the movie had a similar issue with not knowing what to do with Batgirl. You know, she bangs Batman, and I don't think that's the way to do it, Chief. You know, I liked the idea because not everyone's read this. Granted, I feel like most people who saw The Killing Joke have read this. And so I don't think you needed the prologue, but the way you ended the prologue didn't need to happen. So maybe it's just a case of the writers of the movie and Alan Moore didn't know what to do with Batgirl, but maybe that's just me looking too much into the circumstance. But I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, read The Killing Joke if you haven't. Just know it's maybe not the most well-aged Batman story. Still got a good art style. Still has a lot of iconic moments. Still has a lot of good ideas that it tackles, for sure. And that's my take. That's my piece on The Killing Joke. It's my way to talk about The Killing Joke without giving it super praise, to talk about it in its own kind of critical realm. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdery content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you'd like to join their ranks, linked in the description of my Patreon. I'm going to get out of here. I've been Val Rack. You guys have good days, lost situations, and I'll see you another day. In their own way, you know? And not to say you had to... Not to say you... Not to say you had to turn...